With all the recent volatility with 𝗲𝗪_1, 𝗲𝗪_1 protocol has finally got into some interesting areas on the charts. It is looking primed, ready for another surge to the upside, guys. So we're going to get into the weekly, daily, and hourly charts in this video and see exactly what is going on. As we get into it, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not subscribe? Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that said, done and out of the way, let's get right on into this weekly chart and talk about what's going on, and then work our way through some of these other levels and see what I'm expecting to happen in the next couple of days. So here we obviously do have a pretty good impulse waves to the upside, starting back in March of 2020. And from March 2020 through to March 2021, we have seen 18,905% in gains. And although a lot of people in the space do say that Bitcoin and Ethereum are your safer bets and in the space, you know, and micro cut coins are more volatile. And it's hard to argue to say that they're not more volatile, and sometimes it's hard to say they're not as safe. But in terms of trying to make your portfolio, you know, get bigger and obviously have more percentage yields, I think it's important that we acknowledge that Bitcoin for the same period has only had 1,600% in gains. We have Ethereum with only 5,000% in gains. We have things like ADA with 14,000. You know, VeChain, you know, is 18,000, but 𝗲𝗪_1 is 18,905, right? So significantly higher than those safer bets such as Ethereum and Bitcoin. Now, the fact that they use the word bets as well, I also don't like either. It's an investment. It's not betting. You're not gambling. You're basically doing solid research on protocols that you think have strong utility, strong technology, strong teams, strong use case, etc., right? And what you're doing is you're investing in that project, in that vision of theirs, right? And as a result, you see these kind of percentage yields. So super early, if you're able to identify these things as early as we do on the channel, then obviously you can ride these impulse waves right to the upside. Now, obviously, if people were buying at the top here, and I can appreciate they've been very frustrated by what we're seeing the price just plummet down, and they just wanted to go back to where it was previously so that they can sell, right? And the good news is that 𝗲𝗪_1 has recently set a new all-time high anyway, right? So we know that we're already on track in the same way that ADA is on track for its good surge to the upside as well. We do anticipate 𝗲𝗪_1 going up to, I think it was 79.7 cent. This represents 378% in gains from the current position. So we are moving nicely, and we are getting into a very interesting zone on the chart, and I'm going to go through that in a moment. We had a bit of a pullback this morning, but we are also moving nicely to the upside as well. So, what else can we see on this weekly chart that's also worth acknowledging? Well, there is an upward trend line that started back in February of 2020. This was tested up here in August of 2020. We broke through it just in the new year here in February. We back tested down on it in March. And then again, when we had our fourth low area, we also tested this trend line on the 21st of June. We tested it there, and then we tapped on it again in July, and that really helped send us to the upside. So this trend line here that has been kind of support for us this entire journey is definitely working well for us so far. So it's one to be monitoring as we continue our journey to the upside, and of course into the bear market later. The stochastic RSI was oversold before we started the good surge to the upside with wave 1. Wave 1 was overbought, wave 2 was oversold, wave 3 was overbought, wave 4 was oversold, and right now there's a little bit of volatility on our weekly. We were overbought, and then obviously the manipulation with Bitcoin, the regurgitation of FUD, the fear and doubt and you know, that's been just spread around in the space has basically pulled us out of this overbought area. Again, this isn't uncommon. We had seen this with wave 3, but you know, these institutions are trying to shake out retail investors, and I just don't think it's working the way that they think it is anymore. We're getting wised up to their absolute garbage news that they just keep regurgitating all over the place. So I think you know, the power of YouTube, the power of social media, you know, crypto, Twitter, etc., is really helping to educate these retail investors on the you know, the levels that the mainstream media will go to try to manipulate you out of your cryptocurrency, etc. So right now everything's actually looking pretty good on this weekly chart. 𝗲𝗪_1's moving up nicely, and overall I am still expecting 79.7, and I do think there's that possible scenario where we do overreach and we actually end up at a dollar level. Okay, so Harmony One lining up nicely, doing some fantastic things in the space. Do watch out. I do think there's going to be some fantastic announcements in the near future as well. Let's jump on down into our daily. This is where we start to see a little bit more of that volatility. Okay, and you can see the manipulation. I'm not going to talk about the wave 3 high and the wave 4 low, and of course, that 4.236 showing us the 79.7 cent area. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on what happened over here. Okay, because we had this good surge to the upside. We set a new all-time high just over here on the 13th of September, and Bitcoin pulled us down. Right, so we were battling our way up these key areas down here. We were finding the resistance. We had the breakup event that we were so desperate for. Okay, finding resistance at 618, pushing straight past the 702, 786, pulled down, working our way back up, hitting the previous high. And then obviously going and setting a new all-time high. And, this was the main thing for us. Getting that weekly close candle up here was absolutely vital. We were then going to be talking about the 1.618 and progressing upwards, only to see Bitcoin and those institutions, the mainstream media, basically manipulate things and get people to sell their Bitcoin. And obviously, as a result, you start to see the price fall. Okay, and we lost the 786, the 702, the 618, and what do we see now? Well, we actually have started to push back to the upside. Harmony One was like, no, we've had enough of that. Let's get this going. And basically, we started to push back up. We get to the 618. We got rejected again, Bitcoin, pulling us down on the 24th of September. Regurgitation of old news. And again, then, once all that kind of gets cleared up, we push right back up again. Again, profits are taken. Some retail investors were shaking out. We go up. We wick up above the 702, but we pull back down, close above the 618. So we push up and we close above the 702. And now today, guys, we had the small pullback to be expected, along with our wicks like we had seen previous. But this is now a prime area for us to potentially now get a close above the 786. And again, that is then another bullish signal that could send us to new all-time highs really, really soon. Now we take a look at the oversold area that we were down here. We've been progressively moving back to the upside, which is nice to see. So again, we should be looking for good all-time highs in the next few days for Harmony One. It's at this point that it's important that we acknowledge what is going on with the underlying data. For this, we're going to use the advice.io dashboard, and here we are going to dive into that underlying data that the artificial intelligence and machine learning has picked up on. And we have an A3 rating overall. Okay, so really good positive stuff overall. And we have an 𝗕𝗓𝗓 ratio of A2, so liquidity, not a problem. The fear and greed index, A3, so it's actually entered the world of greedy. It was neutral for a while, guys. If you remember the last updates that we did on Harmony, it was neutral. We've moved up into a greedy, so this is where we start seeing some FOMOing coming in, right? We're into these key areas on the charts, right? We're going to start seeing this pick up a bit. We're going to probably go all the way up to A1. We will see that the 𝗕𝗓𝗓 ratio, the risk-reward ratio for Harmony One is an A2. So the risk to holding one versus the rewards of holding one. Right now, well above the 50-day average. Really good risk-reward ratio in your favor, which is fantastic to see. We have an ROI of A1, so that's looking very good, very highly profitable. And the moving averages are A2, so holding up well. Peak end value at B2. Overall, there's nothing wrong with the underlying value here for the for Harmony One, right? So there's no problems. We can start to see this thing absolutely start to run to the upside. So not only are we in some key areas on the charts, we've got some key technical things occurring. The underlying data is also in our favor for a nice surge to the upside. When we jump down into our hourly view, if I just get rid of that for a sec and bring this down, here we can start to see that battle that we've been having pushing to the upside, right? We can grab those trend lines and we can draw these on, and we can start to see that there's a nice trend forming, both on the lower and upper bound. I'm not sure if this is going to connect. Let me try that up here. So that actually forms into a bit of a triangular wedge between these areas here. Otherwise a bit of a parallel channel other than that. But yeah, so we can start to see there's a nice strong surge to the upside. We're at the lower area right now of this trend line as we approach it. We're in the oversold area. So my expectation is the next 6 hours we're going to see a nice surge to the upside. Basically we can come down, just retest this area, and then we'll just absolutely rock it back to the upside. And the aim of the game into the next kind of 24 hours will be to push up above the 786, back test on the 786, and then go on and try to go for the new all-time high. A little bit of resistance will probably get found at 21 cent on that journey, and as long as Bitcoin behaves itself, we should be in a pretty good position. Now, obviously, we are still in September, so we can still expect volatility from Bitcoin and a few of the other altcoins as well. But Harmony One is lining up nicely. If we do expect volatility, I expect something like this, where we hope to be on the higher range so we can keep our trend line working for us and a good surge to the upside. So if we can just get a good surge today, with a back test later, that could help us really move to the upside later as well. So overall, we are expecting new all-time highs just around the corner for Harmony One. Everything is lining up nicely, and we should be on track for setting those new all-time highs within the next few days. The month of October is going to be a pretty important month. There's some interesting things that are occurring, and I do expect that some good price discovery will be made in October for Harmony One. Now, guys, I'm going to leave this there for you. Hopefully you have found it useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.